Our most popular tourist resort is being filled with homeless workers, according to protesters in Queenstown. With the crucial peak season looming, advocates say the town is going to lose crucial workers, and that will affect our whole tourism reputation. Queenstown worker Hannah Sullivan and Queenstown Workers Collective founder Simon Edmonds join us on AM this morning. Thank you both for being with us. Hannah, if I can please start with you, because you essentially have found yourself homeless recently. Tell us your story.
Yeah, so I've lived here for 7 years now, and just off the back of my my first trip home for a long time, we were given our 90-day notice from our landlord. Had lived there for over 3 years, and yeah, right now have really just been coming up with a lot of dead ends, unfortunately, while looking for somewhere else.
Why were you given notice, Hannah?
Our landlord is currently renovating his property to then move forward with that later.
And so how difficult is it to find another place? And is it difficult because there is a lack of supply or because it just is too expensive?
It's actually a bit of both at the moment. You know, we've seen 63% of people who gave our survey have had a rent increase recently. And there are, I think, 22% of people without accommodation living on couches and stuff. So I think really you used to go to viewings for houses and there'd be a handful of people there. Now there's upwards of 30 people there trying to get the one house. And it's the same if you have a room for rent. We've seen people having up to 350 applicants for one room. Yeah.
Simon, are people just staying on couches? I've heard stories about people living in cars and tents. I think we might have just lost our connection with Simon. We'll work on that. In the meantime, Hannah, we've heard not so long ago that we needed all of these workers in Queenstown. Has that changed? Are there so many people there that actually we can't house them all?
Yeah, there are a lot of people here. However, you know, pretty much every single place that you walk past has a "we need workers" sign put in their window. And one of the first questions when you are looking for a job currently right now is, do you have accommodation? We're finding a lot of businesses are training staff over like a few month period, and then their staff having to leave. So yeah, we currently have a shortage of people who can stay long term and work in these jobs because there are no homes, unfortunately.
What we're hearing about is a lot of empty homes. Is that an issue that you're seeing? I think we may have you there, Simon. If you can hear me, is there an issue with a lot of empty homes throughout Queenstown?
Yeah, as far as we understand, and this is from the 2018 data, so it needs updating and the latest census is going to do that. But the latest data said that 27% of the housing stock is empty at the moment. And obviously it might be used for a variety of reasons. It might be empty holiday homes. It might be homes that people have Airbnb'd out the whole home. But 27% is a crazy amount of empty housing when we've got this crisis going on.
Is it any indication that landlords are thinking, or investors, I guess, are thinking it's not attractive to be a landlord and I'd rather actually leave my home empty? I don't want to comply to the healthy home standard and I don't want to have to go through all of that. Is that an indication?
Look, there are certainly some people that are trying to push that line. I don't think it's quite that simple. We had a local MP come down to the protest the other day, and he's since gone on the national news talking about a war on landlords. But that's very much pushing a line that's sort of saying that, you know, the amendments to the Residential Tenancy Act, which meant that tenants couldn't just be kicked out for no reason, or that rent couldn't be put up multiple times a year. You know, when he's talking about repealing these kind of things or healthy homes, that's not what Queenstown tenants need. So I'm very, very wary of anyone who's starting to talk about a war on landlords leading to this crisis. Airbnb is tied into the crisis, but it's not as simple as just, you know, blaming Labor for increasing the rights of tenants.
Simon, companies have been buying, I understand, or leasing whole homes to house their own workers. Is that a good solution?
Look, at the moment, any solution that gets workers out of their cars and tents and into secure accommodation is going to be welcomed by us. But the organisation I'm part of, the Queenstown Workers Collective, we've really got some concerns long term about the effects or the possible downsides of employer housing. So at the moment, as a short-term solution, sure. But anyone who's worked and has ever had a disagreement with their boss can, I'm sure, understand some trepidation that local workers have around their employer also being their landlord. And we only need to look at the RSE scheme in the North Island and some of the huge problems and abuses that have happened with those agricultural workers coming in and living in employers provided accommodation to see what we don't want to happen in Queenstown. So at the moment, short term, sure, but employers being your landlord, not the optimal solution for workers long term in Queenstown.
Queenstown worker Hannah Sullivan, thank you for being in New Zealand and working here. And Queenstown Workers Collective founder Simon Edmonds, thanks for your time this morning.